Cast away on a desert island with only a 10-year-old tablet for company. Which 5 films would you download to take with you? Today, in part 1 of Desert Island Downloads, I asked that very question to co-host Brett Summers.
Superman.
Hello and welcome to the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 130. I'm your host, Damien Hicks, and as ever, I am joined by
Paul Hawkins.
And me, Brett Summers.
So, with silly season closing in on us and the cost of living crisis in full swing, we thought it best we turn our spotlight off, save a bit of energy for a couple of weeks.
We've also got to watch our jokes in case we Greg Wallace it.
Yes. Thanks for that.
Sorry.
Instead, for the next 3 episodes, it's one simple
do.
question. You've been cast away on a desert island with a tablet that can only hold 5 films. Which of those films do you take? Which of those films? Which 5 films do you take? I haven't given you a choice.
Is it a desert island in space?
If you like, Brett, it's a desert island in space.
Yes.
Where you can't breathe and you'll die instantly, but yeah.
That's why I got a helmet.
That's my helmet.
Oh yeah, that's your helmet. You need to take that home with you, Paul.
I will.
It's a small helmet. No, I can't do that anymore. Not in a post-Wallace world.
Post-Wallace. Oh, dear.
Sorry,
Anyway.
sorry.
Before you do land yourself in some serious hot water, let's well, anyone have any comments before we just go straight into it?
In space, no one can hear you joke.
I think Brett's really nervous about this episode.
He's rubbing his legs and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, well, it's about me.
It's like the spotlight is
Normally
on
I'm
him.
slagging someone else off.
And just for the viewers and the listeners as well, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe as we're going through this. So the key thing for this is these are 5 films
5.
that you want to take to a desert island.
Oh, did anyone see Keir Starmer's countdown to the Christmas tree switch on?
No, I've
That's just
heard
you've just
something
reminded me of
about
it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul, but
It's all right.
oh god, fucking hate him.
See, short and snappy.
Sorry,
you said.
yes, that's my fault.
Okay, so we're really interested to see what films Brett's chosen. Has he gone all arty-farty just to please you? Or is he being
Has
honest
he gone from
and
the
true?
heart?
Let's find out.
We've gone for films to watch.
It's showtime! Oh, it's another film I could...
That's
There are
right.
many
Your
films.
episode, you've got time
got
to
ages
change your
yet.
choices.
They're not etched in stone yet.
Yeah, I've got
Not-
weeks.
They haven't been sent out into space like this will be.
Okay.
Oh, for viewers watching, because that's how you view, we're recording this all in one night, hence we will look the same in the next episode. No illusion. We're not flowering that up.
I brought changes of clothes. Oh, waste of time that was now. You've ruined it.
I normally wear
Lauren
this anyway
Laverne
for
would have blagged
continuity.
that. Nope.
Exactly.
See,
Okay.
he is nervous.
He is.
Well, no, I just can't say any comments anymore.
It's like a girl on prom night.
Where's my corsage, bitch? All right.
Don't Wallace it.
Okay, then. So what shall I start with? Ooh.
You start with talking in the microphone.
Some things will never change.
Right, then
It's just
I
the
am
way
going
it
to
is.
start way back in 1989 to a film that changed modern day philosophy, to a film that changed how. What did it do? It just changed the thought process of every male on the planet, and kind of was revolutionary and just
Blue Lagoon.
made people fully understand the importance of certain roles in society. I am talking, of course,
Weird science.
about Rowdy Herrington's 1989 classic Roadhouse.
Ah, that's another
Choice.
good film.
Choice.
Patrick Swayze, Ben Gazzara, Kelly Lynch. the legendary Sam Elliott,
Yeah.
who should have got a Best Supporting Oscar for this film. It's basically a bouncer in a newly refurbished roadside bar that could somehow afford Jeff Healey and his band to play every night, even though they were millionaires, in small town Missouri, in the classic old small town run by a corrupt businessman. But he wants control of the bar. They hired Dalton the Cooler, the second best bouncer in the land, because Wade Garrett's the best, but even though Garrett's getting old. And
No one can afford him.
he comes to town and runs into this sort of small town mafia.
Yeah.
Would you
can
call it
him
that? Yeah. And basically, he didn't bank on them, but they definitely didn't bank on Dalton being in town.
He's
And,
like the wind.
And we get what do we get? We get modern philosophy.
We get Bigfoot.
We get Tai Chi. We get Bigfoot. We
Yeah.
get a big polar bear thing at the end.
We get love.
We get love. We get cool pool cue fighting, where they actually hit people with it rather than just spin it around for ages, like most films did for years, and just teased us.
Chicken wire.
We get Starscream from Transformers in the bar, where someone has to dance for his wife and feel her boobs for money. When he was, I ain't got no money. And then he stabs her. That was one of his last appearances before he died, actually. There's all Terry Funks in it. And I've forgotten the name of the main guy that Patrick Swayze fights, but he was really cool as well. And he actually follows us, so I really should remember that. But I can't at the moment, I'm sorry. But a great film that came in, opened up a new career to many people who hadn't thought of being a bouncer before, especially in small town bars in Southern America. Introduced modern philosophy to most sort of teenage Englishmen, and also showed the convenience of being able to carry your own medical record around with you and how quickly you would get medical service, especially in America. So imagine what it'd be like in this country. It'd be very quick. And also the wise adage of not taking your decent car to work.
Yep.
Yep.
There are many things in it. There's some cool fight scenes. There's one big major flaw in it, and that's that they killed off the wrong bouncer. Sam Elliott should have gone to the end, and Patrick Swayze should have died in the film.
To be fair,
In the film,
to be
yeah.
fair, there's no need to actually kill him. They could have just put him in hospital. Something like
Yeah.
that.
And it was like, and Sam Elliott delivered some of the best lines in modern cinema in that film. Like,
Oh, it's the bit where he and Swayze are up all night with the girl.
yeah,
And he's just fully checking it out.
yeah. She's got, that girl's got too many brain cells to have an arse like that. It's modern poetry. Shakespeare would be like, just jealous of it, really.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's some other deep philosophical phrases that he dishes out through the film. So that would be.
No, top choice.
Any memories on Roadhouse? Any sort of?
Fantastic film.
I
Yeah.
probably
Great
all made
film.
you. I know I made everyone watch it around my house at least once.
No,
Yeah, I've lost count of the amount of times I've
Yeah.
watched it.
yeah,
And it's one of those where if you're flicking through the TV and it's
I was gonna
on,
say,
you
yeah.
just, even if you try it, you go, I just watched this bit.
I haven't
Before
included
you
it on
know
my
it, you've
list,
seen the
but
film.
I'm
And
gutted.
also-
but that's only because I didn't think of it.
No.
If you look carefully, Keith David is in it behind the bar serving coffee. I think he's the one that says like leaded or unleaded, and most of his bits got cut for some reason. They kept the other guy in and cut out Keith David. But don't worry, he may appear later.
Okay.
Cool. Yep. Great film. Good choice.
So
what
check
more can
out
you say?
Roadhouse 1989, not Roadhouse 2, not the remake. Roadhouse 1989, the proper one. Keith David, did you say? He was in my second choice, which again I initially watched because of the star of the film, and I had an interest in that person, but it then grew from there because I learned about the director and realised that I'd liked the director before. And this is actually probably one of the things that sent me down a kind of cult spiral, a bit like Jamie and his Magic Torch, into looking into different types of films and stuff. It was 1988 at this point, so it was actually before Roadhouse. It was a science fiction classic, and I use it now to actually demonstrate how to analyze for hidden meanings in English language. And I actually use this clip in my classroom to this day. It's John Carpenter's They Live, which
I had a
starred,
feeling you might go for that.
which starred Rowdy Roddy Piper, Keith David, and Meg Foster, and Meg Foster's eyes. Yeah, we get the Drifter. Is it Nardo, whatever Piper calls himself in this? He basically plays the same character wherever he's in
Yeah.
anyway, and still wears his wedding ring. And he finds some cool sunglasses that he kind of struts around on. Then he puts them on and suddenly realizes the world isn't quite how it seems. There's aliens have invaded, and we can sort of sit with the glasses on. You can see the real ones. You can see the real meanings behind newspapers and TV and all that. It's a real huge social commentary, really, if you read between the lines and put your shades on and look deep.
But it's got a lot of kick-ass in and...
Oh, a lot of kick-ass in. And probably one of the best ad-libbed fights in the history of cinema. Because they kind of like have a fight, and they did.
Yeah.
And it just went
It's
on.
like they know how it's going to end, but
Yeah. And it was probably...
there is one point where you can see what's it? Sorry, I was about to say Keith Allen. Then
I just said
David.
it. Keith David.
Keith David. You can see that there's a point in there where he actually laughs at what's going on, but they cut away just in time before.
Yeah. But it is one of them, probably Piper just did what he did in a wrestling match. He just
Yeah.
went for it and just used what was around him and keep up or get whacked.
Yeah.
That was his basic wrestling philosophy. When everyone's like, "Oh, he always planned it really well," he didn't, and that was why it always came off so well, because the other guy had no clue and probably was being hit, and they managed to channel that into the film. Again, I think we've talked about this before on the podcast. It does.
We've done
have
a spot. We did a spotlight
Yeah,
on.
it does have the Carpenter traditional ending of kind of just leaving you with nothing, but that's what he likes to do, and it's up to you to make it out. Although, on a side note, I did see a nice meme today where apparently the Thing is the origin story of Santa
Yeah, I
Claus.
saw that.
Origin story of what?
Santa Claus,
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
he plays
yeah.
Santa Claus now. It was, yeah. So that would be the number 2 on my space.
You missed
Island.
that it also has one of the greatest lines
Oh yeah.
ever.
I didn't even. Yeah, you're right.
I don't even.
The
need to say
end. Oh no, sorry. No, I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum, often duplicated and
Yeah.
used in other things, but it's never been delivered in the same way as Piper. And also that I forgot the skateboard designer guy now, that Obey thing that has been stolen from They Live has become a whole fashion thing on its
Yeah.
own and a label where I really don't know why John Carpenter's not sued, because
He doesn't
it's
care. I
blatant.
expect.
Yeah, probably. He's probably like, yeah, you can do that, but can I do the soundtrack? Yeah, so that was They Live.
Cool.
Let's go for a little change of pace now. Let's go for something a little bit more retro, a little bit more.
A little bit more
A
retro,
little more
than,
retro
the 80s.
than 40 years ago, 30 years
yeah,
ago.
Cool.
yeah, a little bit more
Retro.
a sprinkling of romance and friendship and male bonding.
E.T..
And
Lethal Weapon?
No, it's not E.T. It's never going to be E.T. No, Lethal Weapon 2 does get an honorary mention. Though.
Enemy Mine?
No,
Oh.
I didn't like that, or its rip-off Dances with Wolves. But I did like Enemy Mine. But yeah, no, this one goes a little bit further. It's sort of, teenage angst and love and relationships and gangs and
Oh, okay.
what it's like
Warriors.
being at school. It's not the Warriors.
I thought that's what he was going to choose, actually.
It's the Wanderers. The 1979 classic by Philip Kaufman, which starred Ken Wow, John Frederick, Karen Allen, and a friend of the show, the late great Tony Ganios, a.k.a. Meat from Porky's. Yeah. What's not to like? The soundtrack is amazing. The gangs actually, it's one of those gang films where the gangs actually look like they really weren't gangs rather than just bunches of people put together.
Like the class of 1999.
Yeah. Well, those gangs were a bit different. But Yeah, and some of them probably actually really were gangs, but but it had the soundtrack, it had that '60s vibe, and I dare say it may have been the first pop culture film that went into the mainstream because it had the soundtrack, it had the gangs. There were loads before, there was the Wild Ones and all that, but they weren't really. They were cult movies, but I don't think they had that pop culture.
What about The Blob? There's gang in that.
Yeah, but I mean, like the pop culture thing of like
He's doing over 30.
like the coolness of it and the music.
I was
and
I don't know. I mean, American Graffiti is often cited as one of those first.
that was about the same.
I don't know, I
wasn't it?
can't
That was
remember.
that was
When
just
was
before
Grease?
Star Wars, wasn't it? That was after. Well, no, this was filmed before Grease. I think Grease was 77, 78.
Yeah.
This
I
was
thought you
this
said
was
79.
79. Yeah, but it would have been filmed about the same time.
Technically, Grease
Grease-
came out first, though.
Technically,
Yeah, but Grease came
by
from
2 years.
Grease came from the musical, didn't it? It was already on Broadway.
So it was already before this, then.
Yeah, but this was like but Grease wasn't a cool film. It became like this thing that
I really
I'm
don't
just saying.
care.
No, I'm arguing. But Grease became like Mamma Mia or one
I'm
of
going
those
to stay out
things.
then. I hate Grease with a passion.
You know what I mean? But this was like the one where I'm just trying to think where people went and bought the sound. Maybe That'll Be the Day. Actually, that was more an English film, wasn't it?
What? Sorry.
That'll Be the Day when
Yeah.
with Billy Fury, and Marty Wilde and all that. But yeah, so you had your gangs, the Boldies, the Wanderers, who were like the cool ones that we follow. But what I liked about it as well is they even had like the old boys who were working up the bowling alley, like the old gang. So they were like the dads of some of them, and then the guy from the Wanderers gets the guy from theirs daughter pregnant, and and then it ends with him. They get him the Hawaiian shirt because he's going to join the old man gang, and he's just walking along because he really doesn't want that. But he's still at school, but he's got her pregnant, so he's got to marry her. And then it's the Kennedy assassination, and then it ends with him walking into a bar, and there's a big curly-haired man in the corner singing "The Times Are A-Changin'" that you don't really see his face off because
Wasn't
Yeah.
him.
probably have to pay money or something. But it's got everything there: crazy fights, crazy cool bits, the Wanderer's whistle. Domestic violence,
What more could you want?
one-liners, leave the kid alone, chewing matches, no Wanderers, no Razor Ramon,
Yeah, that's true.
or Scarface as well, because there was a lot of that too. But, that whole, I think a lot of the stuff from that then got taken into...
Permeated into.
other things, and even like a lot of that cast ended up in the Wise Guy TV series as well. Ken Wilde got the lead, and people got through, and it's that sort of Italian American. I think it was the film Adrian Zemeckis wished he was in instead of Grease 2. And then just after that, then you got the Warriors as well, which wasn't the same. That was based on the Greek story, which became 300, I think. But that gang, it sort of spearheaded that sort of popular gang 80s thing, which ended in, what was it? Class of 99.
Oh, actually, hang on about it. But before all of that, there was West Side Story.
Yeah, but again, it was more for the girls. That was for the girls and shoe polish companies. That
Cool.
was-
Okay, good choice. What's
yeah.
next?
Okay. Okay, next one. You said it was okay, but it was the controversial choice. This is the slot that got replaced. 1 minute it was Lethal Weapon 2. At one point it was Mulholland Drive. It's kind of switched
I'd have
around.
killed you if you'd have gone for Mulholland Drive.
I love that film because you can just watch it and every time it's something different. Oh, got that in. Thank you. And,
It's not. You're not taking it with you though. I'll be checking the tablets
Yeah.
before you leave.
That's what my mum says. So it was. Well, it's 1983, but I'm pretty sure it was 1984 in this country.
Yeah, it would have
Because they
been.
put it against the Olympics, I think. I think that was the
Yeah.
whole point. That's why they put it on, and it smashed it in the ratings. It was originally a TV movie, then another TV movie, then a TV series that got really awful as it went on because everyone left, and it had, by the last episode, they had about £10 left for budget. But V, in this case, V, the original mini-series, as it's now known. At the
Yeah.
time, it was just V.
Yep, they were. Yeah, You're fine. You're right. You've got past the adjudication. You don't have to
I'm just
re-justify.
checking to anyone listening as well, because someone might go and go, actually, it was called. It's like, now it's called that, but at the time it was the only one.
Yeah.
So it's like World War One wasn't World War One.
Yep.
It was just the Great War. I have to keep explaining that at school. But yeah, Kenneth Johnson's probably finest work. He did some cool stuff with Alien Nation as well. But this is where it all started for me. And this was one of those shows. There was an advert that it was on, and it was on late at night. I think it was on at like 10 or 11 o'clock. And my mum said she'd video it for me. So in 1983, 6 years old that Christmas.
Yeah.
And and V was just that show, I think, that probably was the birth of everything for me that led to Cult Faction, probably. Science fiction, alien ships appear all over the planet. They come in peace.
Woman eating a gerbil.
The visitors are our friends.
Reptilians eating gerbils.
Yeah, and then you had Jane Badler eating a gerbil. That stirred something weird in me that I didn't understand as a child. Mark Singer, the Beastmaster himself, as Mike Donovan, the cameraman who's just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Faye Grant as Julie Parrish. She just wanted to be a doctor, but ended up being a resistance fighter. And the really cool thing, especially at the start when it was still in the films, is they really did push on the sort of resistance side of it. And it's even dedicated to resistance fighters everywhere around the world or something like that, because it was that they really got the everyman thing of it. It wasn't all... I mean, later on, when Michael Ironside turns up as Ham Tyler, he is like the military sort of fixer specialist guy that they have to approach, because they've got to that point now where they need like some serious shit and some hardware or whatever. But like, at the time, there's a doctor, there's a cameraman, there's a policeman, there's a librarian, there's an old lady. It really is like a ragtag bunch of people from a neighbourhood.
That's Battlestar Galactica.
I know. Which isn't on the list.
I think the thing about V, watching it as a kid, you really did feel like almost trepidation. Like, oh my God, there's this huge bloody alien ship.
And they also done that really cool, like, which no one really does. Actually, they did do it in that one where there was ice everywhere. The Day After Tomorrow, where you get all the different people everywhere and no one meets up for ages. Everyone's got their own stuff going on, and then eventually they all come together and you suddenly realise, oh, that's his brother or that's her sister or whatever. And a lot of films have kind of abandoned that now just to kind of get everyone in a van driving really fast straight away. It's sort of, whereas it does have a lot of...
Avengers took 12 bloody films or whatever.
Well, that's fair enough then. And it was worth it. And... But, they had that thing, and eventually it does, it is kind of space Nazis, but it's done in a way of how they did it, where they invite us in, we'll give you cures of cancer and all that, and we're like, yeah, we'll bend over.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, which is probably what would happen, dare I say it. Boris would be out there shaking hands. But, and then it bends forward, and you get the whole...
States have just re-elected one.
Yeah, well, yeah. And then you get the whole, like, they have like the visitor youth, and you get the sort of Hitler youth side of it, and how people... And then you get the whole, which was really cool, the bit I like the most watching it now, are the people that are looking the other way because it doesn't affect them. But it's that whole thing of it's going to eventually, because you're going to be the ones left, and that sort of thing. And it really does bring in that sort of... It's an alien threat, but it's a human terror, and it's something that has happened. He's very cleverly written it in a way of, apart from the fact that it is on spaceships, most of the stuff in there is genuinely what has happened to people on this planet in history, and hopefully will never happen again. But so he does.
I'm not entirely sure that table's made of wood, to be honest.
Well, it looks like wood. The sticker is. I'll do that. But I know that isn't either. But he does. Kenneth Johnson really does that, and it is even in Alien Nation he keeps those themes going. But V was just something else, especially at that age. Yeah, the spaceships and the lasers were cool, but then as you start to actually understand it, it taught a lot more. And propaganda, actually, as well. The posters, they even used those posters to advertise the series. It was just genius all around, really.
I think that actually did make me scared that aliens were landing.
Yeah.
and we were going to get taken over.
It's not another Tomorrow's World moment, was it?
Not as bad as that.
Boom. Yeah. Any other memories of that for you guys?
You've summed it up perfectly. It's classic. There's no. I don't think there's any more you can say. I mean, I did like it. I liked Ham when he turned up, though.
Yeah, and
Slagging him off, I think.
Chris Farber with him. It was played by the dude with the big dude with the beard. He was Kenny Rogers' drummer. Chris. He's in everything Michael Ironside does. He gets him in somehow, or he did. Paul Black passed away, but yeah, and then it grows into that in the next series, and the TV series is kind of starts well, but nosedives as time went on because I don't know what they wanted.
Don't worry about that.
I'm not.
You chose
I'm
the
sticking
film.
back.
You
No,
didn't
I'm
take the
just saying,
series with you.
But if you want to check it out, I think it's still on. It was on Legend or something recently, one of those channels. I was flicking through in an afternoon and it was on again. Suddenly it was 2 or 3 hours later and I'd watched it again. And I'm sure someone, I can't remember if it was Kate or my mum, wherever I was watching it going, haven't you got this on DVD? I was like, yeah, but it's
not
just
the
point.
Because other people are watching it with me at the same time.
yeah. And it is something I think everyone should watch once. Yeah, the effects are probably a bit dated nowadays, but what saves it is just the fact that it's just such a well done story that
And
Yeah.
like you said, because now we're obviously older, you can draw parallels with history and because I think when you're taught stuff that have your history, you go, well, how did they kind of fall for that? How did not
Yeah.
necessarily, that's not the right word, but why did everyone go along with that thinking? And this kind of shows you how everyone went along with that thinking, because it was, like you say, there's certain people turning a blind eye. There's certain factions that just don't get it, and this lays it all out for you.
Oh yeah, and it's the scientists start turning up as criminals and being arrested because obviously they're identified as, later on you realise they're the biggest threat to them.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that for lack of a better, they're the Jews in this one kind of. They're the ones getting the blame and persecuted, and those damn scientists.
Got to watch them. Right, what's your last film, mate?
Last one,
Oh, is it the last one already?
yeah.
Glad you're keeping up, Paul. He could have sneaked another one in.
No, I wouldn't let him do that.
Right. What was it?
They just love radio silence, everyone.
Yeah, la, 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 la,
It's been a good crop
So,
so far, though, Summers.
4.5 is
No.
okay. We're going back to 1993.
Ooh,
It
bit more recent.
It revived the genre the year we left school. It revived the genre. I actually went to the cinema and watched this twice.
Bloody hell, you paid money twice.
No,
Yeah,
you got
yeah, I actually paid this. Right?
No.
Yeah, you're right.
not a mate sneaking him in at the back.
Yeah,
No, which didn't happen.
it wasn't me and you at the a midnight.
It
Sharon.
was officially directed by George P. Cosmatos, but there are rumours other people may have been involved. It brought back a genre that was once popular, but it kind of been forgotten.
Oh, I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
And it's in Arizona.
Another good choice.
And yeah, Kevin Costner tried to do it, and this just shit all
Just
over him.
pissed all over it.
At his peak as well. This
Yeah.
was Pete Costner before, when everyone still liked him. I would like to introduce you to Tombstone, starring Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, Sam Elliott, Bill
Yep.
Paxton, Powers Booth, Michael Bain, Dan Delaney, and even Robert Mitchum turns up in the form of his
Yeah.
voice. And actually, loads of people turn up.
Yeah.
If you watch that film now, there's no way they could make that film on that budget because the amount of people in it. Since even Billy Bob Thornton, you got
So
Billy,
I
Billy
don't know
Zane.
whether that's the case, because I think, like a lot of films, it's like a love project, and it would be kind of a mate's,
Yeah, well, I think they were just unknowns really at that point.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, but also there's a
Jason
lot of
Briggsy.
films where because like, a lot of the people that are in it, they're not necessarily in it. They're not in the entire film.
Yeah,
So like a couple of days shooting isn't. Yeah, you couldn't do that with someone like Tom Hanks or
yeah,
the guy I don't like. What's his name?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. But you can get away with that with like Billy Bob Thornton's like, yeah,
yeah. He probably would do it. but he'd have to put on about £500 because I watched that for years. I was like, he's just not in this film. No, that's him there.
Yeah.
What, that guy? I'm sorry, I forgot you were there. Val Kilmer should have got an Oscar.
You're no quiet.
He
Yeah.
he carried that film in some ways
Yeah.
when he was in it, but then so did Michael Biehn, so did Kurt Russell. Sam Elliott played Sam Elliott again
Nothing
He
wrong
does
with
it
that.
well.
with one arm later. Paxton kind of came across well as the sort of naive younger brother who sort of was Wyatt's sort of fanboy, really. Charlton Heston even turned up, didn't he? As the old man at the ranch at the
He's
end.
got
That's right,
guns
yeah.
in it, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's bound to have been
They
in
were
it.
all his guns.
Yeah.
He just lent them his guns. And it's the tale of Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, Tombstone, Arizona, the Clayton Gang and the Cowboys. And for once you actually get, because I think most films up to that point, because I remember when my granddad watched it, I lent him the video when it came out, or the DVD. No, it probably was video then.
Yeah, it would have been.
And he said, "Oh, I've seen all these," and so did. And he said that's the only one he'd ever seen where Doc Holliday died of an illness at the end. Because apparently in all the old ones, he always gets killed at the OK Corral, and
Yeah.
then Wyatt goes for revenge.
Yeah.
And he said that he goes, "I'm glad I've seen like the proper one." 'Cause it was-
I mean, to
And
be
he
fair,
like
even even Tombstone takes some liberties with the truth, but
Yeah.
it is done in a much better way, and
But
it is more
It's just
realistic.
a classy, good film.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
But
there's no. It's like almost like a Pulp Fiction type thing in regards to the fact that it's just a lot of action, but the acting is really good in
Yeah.
it as well.
Well, no one in it is because even like the Ike Clayton, the sort of drunk, sort of bearded one, and that's Stephen Lang who would end
Was
up
he the one that
being
was
in-
actually drunk all the time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the one. That's Stephen Lang who would end up in Avatar and all that, and he's shredded now.
Yeah.
He's in better shape now, 40 years later,
Yeah.
or whatever it is, than he was then, or 30 years there. And but one thing I did look up, the actual when he walked out across the lake and just shot everyone did happen, and no one can work out how a bullet missed him. But some of the other stuff, yeah, because I was like, that bit didn't happen, and then it did. But I don't think that Doc Holliday saying he's down there walking on water actually happened. I think half of that was just Val Kilmer as well,
Yeah.
which made it. Doc had some of the best lines in any film going, and again should have got an Oscar.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, but it's just a cool tale. Good people do get killed. Some of the goodies do get killed. A lot of the baddies do get killed, and kind of. You see, maybe not as full on, but you kind of see the effect that lifestyle has. Wyatt Earp's wife at the beginning is basically like a junkie. He's kind of doesn't want to do it because he's killed one person and it's messed him up, and now he just wants to make money and live off it. But the two brothers are like, I can't do that, and
Yeah.
he's pretty much turned, but because they get involved, he then has to get involved. So, you don't get the heroic, let's clear up this town. The only reason he did it is because his brothers did. And he's, damn it!
Yep.
Doc Holliday's like, he's just Wyatt's best mate. He's like, yeah, if you're doing it, I'll do it then. Because,
Yeah.
he's,
I'm your
he's
Huckleberry.
hanging around to die, basically. He's just playing cards and gambling and drinking until he dies. He's like, yeah, right. And, you get all the cool stuff with him. And, it's just a great film. Lots of cool scenes, lots of cool action, cool story, cool scenery. One-liners, and just lots of you're drunk, you probably can't even shoot straight. He's like, well, I've got a gun for each of you.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, which if he did say that would be cool. But a great film that should be watched by everyone. It's not just, it is a Western, but there's a lot more in it than that.
Well, it's one of those. So there was a period of time, because obviously the Western as a genre went completely out of fashion by the 70s, I'd say, mid to late
When
70s.
sci-fi came along.
Yeah, potentially.
We've all seen Toy
And
Story.
Also it had been done to proper death.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. People have got bored of it. It's gone out of fashion. But then your likes of, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a great film, but they're decent films. The Young Guns films came out. You had Unforgiven.
Oh yeah.
A couple of other. There's one with
Pale Rider was
Pale
good.
Rider.
That was about 82, I think.
Something
Yeah,
like
early
that.
80s,
So,
yeah.
and it started to get a little bit of momentum again through the 80s, and then sort of by the time the 90s came around, they started to look at more realism rather than, you know, John Wayne managing to walk down a small town with 20 people firing at him and not one bullet hit. They started to get a bit more realism in their
I didn't put High
storytelling.
Noon in. Oh,
There's loads of films
But
I
that's
haven't put in.
to me, that's the best old school Western because no one gives a shit about him. And he does it on his
Yeah.
own in the end. Even he goes and asks everyone for help, and they all say no, even though he saved them. And then he does it on his own and just tells them all to F off at the end and leaves. John Wayne hated that film. But yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, it was.
Also, as well, it's not just action. It's a proper film, you know, not like a lot of the other westerns that you mentioned, like Young Guns, pretty much, or Young Guns 2 particularly.
Yeah.
Is just a action film or attempted action film.
Yeah,
with
but
a
at
good
least
soundtrack.
they do have, both of those films have the empathy and the consequence of the lifestyle in them, whereas the westerns of the 50s, 60s and 70s didn't.
Young Guns 2 was playing into the old boy, wasn't it? A lot more that the old boy was
Do you
actually.
know what? It's a long time since I've seen either of them. But Young Guns 2
Young Guns 2 starts with the old boy.
is after all the regulators
Yeah,
and stuff.
no, the old guy like in modern time or whatever.
Where he's like
he's saying
97 or
like,
something.
I was bullied a kid. Or
Yeah,
whatever,
that's
and
right.
all
That's
that,
the one
and then
that starts out.
It plays it like, you know, was he or wasn't he or type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Billy! So that's how it ends.
Yeah.
And all that sort of yeah. But yes, it's been a long time.
Cool. So do you want to quickly just run through that list again? No
Yeah.
need for comments. Let's just go through them.
Yeah, so and again, this can change very quickly as well.
Not on the island, it
No,
won't.
it won't.
Not on the no, but I mean,
I'm joking.
on another day, it could be another top 5.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So,
that's fine.
So we had Roadhouse, 1989, Tombstone, They Live, The Wanderers, and V. Can I give my honorary mentions, just by name? The ones that just missed.
Go on then.
So it's just great. So my honorary just missed Goodfellas, ID, Mulholland Drive, Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors, Ghostbusters, Back to School, Transformers, the movie, the proper one that was a cartoon, Police Academy, and Pacific Rim.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
I've been toying with that all week, and to get to that 5, you don't know how. There were bits of string across rooms and post-it notes and everything.
Cool.
It was, yeah.
Did Kate survive?
Yeah, she did.
You had to watch a Hallmark movie to decompress.
It was really weird, right? Because he'd come back to the town, and he'd not been there since a kid, and she still loved him. Oh,
Cool. Right then. There we have it. That was Brett's Desert Island downloads.
yeah. So
Weirdly, now we would normally go across and ask for someone else's film nomination. We're not going to do that. We are literally cutting the podcast dead here. So, shutdown procedure.
yeah. Any
commences.
comments and stuff? Leave them
Yeah,
below.
that's what I'm getting to. Just,
All right.
I'm the host. You can say
You
that
just
when
said
you're
we're
the
cutting
host.
it dead now, so
So
I was
probably
just
it's
trying to
not
get it in
like-
quick.
You've changed the format. He doesn't know what to do
No,
now.
it's like everyone's up in the air. What's going on?
Why am I not talking?
Right.
It's about me.
Don't forget, if you agree, think his views are 100% correct, you can leave comments in the section below the video on YouTube or email us at,
cultfactionpodcast@mail.com.
we're on Twitter, Threads, whatever it's called now.
Threads,
X.
Blue Sky.
Really? We've
What?
gone to Blue Sky as well,
We're
haven't we?
on Blue Sky a month ago. We're on Blue Sky forever.
Yeah, that's the one you
Blue Sky.
emailed me, but you called
Yeah.
me about it, and then I've lost all the login
I
details.
don't even know what Blue Sky is.
It's another Twitter.
I don't want to know.
It's Twitter
It's
without
okay.
all the evil.
I like the evil.
Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah. All the socials, we're there.
We're on all of them. Donkey Punch. We're on all of them.
Cool. So I have anything else? So if you wanted to keep abreast of all the latest news, reviews, etc., you can go to our mothership, which is
Cultfaction.com.
I've been your host, Damien Hicks. I've been joined by
Paul Hawkins.
And me, Brett Summers.
nothing left to say, but goodbye.
Can I get off the island now?
Nope, you're there forever.
Shit.
Superman.